Hey Raiders, thank you for joining me. This is part 3 of our parent information night. It's late or early or one of the two, so I'm at home finishing this up. So hopefully we won't be interrupted by phones or bells or anything like that. Okay, so I am ready for slide number 18 in your yellow folder. If you have that, go ahead and take that out. So the next part is how much is college? And on slide 18 has a rough estimate of books, tuition, room and board, total per semester, and total per year. Now, that is a rough estimate, but that way you can compare, and I chose a local community college, a local state university, KU, which is the largest in the state, and then also a private college in the state of Kansas. So if a student were to stay at home or live off campus or whatever, room and board would be different. So some people are going to look at this and say, there's no way that's what it is, because room and board is included in there. And those are suggestions. I know at KU, I chose kind of a middle of the road housing and meal plan. So you can go a lot higher or a lot less depending on your area. The next part that I'd like to go to is in your yellow folder. It is right after the ACT, right after the orange paper for ACT. It is this light purple paper, and it is for Kansas Degree Stats. And the website is ksdegreestats.org. And this is an excellent tool that you can definitely look at and see an exact cost analysis, what's required, all sorts of things. So this purple page that says 20 and 21 is the handout version of what I'm about to do. So first of all, you can do it a couple of different ways. So let's say you want to go to Johnson County Community College. You want to go to that college. So you pick that college, and then right here are all of the degrees that they offer. And notice that the awards are, it's hard to read, the awarded for the associate's degree, and then how many hours are required. So if you're wanting to go into dental hygiene, you can click there and go into a little bit more information. And here is the cost of the program. And then you can plug these in as well and go from there. So then you can look at the wage information, calculate loans, and total amount of debt. So this is a great tool to use. So if you want to look at it a different way, you can reset it. I'll just go back because I can't reset anything. So let's say you're not sure of where you want to go to college, but you know you want to go into elementary education. So that is not all of the institutions that offer elementary education. There we go. Okay, here we go. I've clicked on the K6. So you can compare which colleges have elementary ed degrees, what you could be awarded, the number of hours. So then from here, you could click on and say, okay, Wichita State to get elementary education is going to cost me over 5 years, or I can change that. Total of $70,000, and there it's broken down. Whereas if you went to, so that was Wichita State for 70. So if you went to Fort Hays, for 4 years, 65. And you kind of have to play with this a little bit because remember before it was only Pittsburgh State because of the way it's divided up. So you kind of have to look a little bit. So there we can look and see cost analysis of the degree, and then going through. So a lot of different ways that you can utilize this. Reset is not working. I just have to use back. So you can either pick your degree or your institution, submit your search, and can have a ton of the information that you can find from there. So if you know you're wanting to go to a specific university, again, I know I'm going to go to Fort Scott. What do they offer? Search that, and then there would be all of the degrees. And from there, you can click on, and it will kind of do the subcategories. So again, that is using the Kansas degree stats on the purple page in your yellow folder, right past the orange ACT section. So now let's go back. All right, so financial aid. A lot of people say, what is financial aid? So financial aid is it's a combination of grants, loans, work study, and scholarship. Of those, loans are what needs to be paid back. Grants, there are a lot of different grants. Most of the time, grants are based off of income and need-based awards. Loans can be subsidized, unsubsidized, plus private, all sorts of different things for student loans. Work study. This is federal money that you receive in exchange for working a part-time employment while on campus. So a lot of times students will choose to work in the library, in the registrar's office, in the athletic department, and they will work a certain number of hours. It corresponds with their schedule, and then they are paid that amount of money. And work study eligibility is based off of your financial aid. And then there are also scholarships that are typically could be both based off of academic achievement, based off of abilities, based off of need. There could be a wide variety of things for scholarships. So where do I get this? So there is a program called FAFSA, and it is the free application for federal student aid. And this program is used to determine the eligibility of various forms of aid, which include the grants, loans, scholarships, and work study. So I highly recommend doing it online. You can do it through an app store through Android or iOS, or you can also do paper, or you can call the number. The quickest, easiest way is going to be online. And then that way, if you have questions or if you have things that you need to update, you can do there. The app store is always, the app is always being updated. They have been reporting difficulties navigating that. And if you choose to do the paper version, it typically takes several weeks to get that processed, but any of those are fine. So how much aid can I get? Typically, it depends on your financial need. So the way it is calculated, they use a formula and they take the expected family contribution, which is the EFC. So earnings, assets, other forms of income, and they look at the cost of attendance of each school. So where I was looking at previously on the degree stats webpage, every school has a COA. So every school has a cost of attendance. So they say for you to go to this school and do whatever program, this is going to be your cost of attendance. So the formula is your cost of attendance minus your financial need. So just to use round numbers. So if the cost of attendance is $50,000 and your expected family contribution is $25,000, so subtracting that, your financial need would be $25,000. Cost of attendance is encompassed with tuition, fees, room and board, transportation, all of those sort of things that are determined by the school. So that formula is kind of a magic number and could vary depending on the program at each institution as well. So for Pell Grant, the maximum this year is going to be $6,345, and that would be distributed in October, mid-October of next year. Whenever you're applying for financial aid, you apply now. It is open October 1st and closes June 30th, and it is divided up into 3 different sections. So fall, then spring, then summer. So if a student is going to want to take summer classes right after they graduate from high school, their financial aid would not cover that, because financial aid starts October, starts in the fall, then goes to spring, then goes to summer. So those 3 semesters are covered under the same financial aid year, and then it starts again. So students who are wanting to take summer classes would not be eligible for any of that financial aid. Even if they qualified, it starts the next round. This is a website for the forecaster. The last time I checked, it was not up. They said that it would be up the end of September, so not quite yet. So you can click on that link, and the forecaster, what that does is you can go through and get kind of a predictive, the one parent is this age, the second parent is this age, this is how many people will be in the home, this is how many people will be attending college during this time, this is what our taxes are, our total income. And from that, they do just a really rough estimate as to what the student would be eligible for financial aid. It is an estimate. It is not verified nor authorized. So next question, who can get federal student aid? I'm on slide 23. Students who are U.S. citizen or permanent resident are eligible for aid. If you're a DACA student, you are not eligible for aid at this time. You must have a high school graduate diploma or have a GED. You must be entering into a degree or certificate program. You must have a valid Social Security number. Males must be registered for the Selective Service. I believe the age is 17. If you have not yet registered for the Selective Service, there will be that option on the FAFSA to go ahead and get that submitted. And you also must have satisfactory academic progress in college and career schools. So that's going to be very important for your following semester in college. If you don't do well and they take your money and don't invite you to come back, if you're academically ineligible, you may not be eligible for aid the next year. Okay, so how can I get other kinds of financial aid? So there are lots of different ways to pay for college. There are state and college and private scholarships. They each have their own eligibility. I will be putting out, posting a whole thing on how to find scholarships for career cruising. So you have thousands of scholarships available there. If you look in the back of your yellow folder, there are going to be 2 sheets that are kind of a pinkish color. One says KASFAA, and it's like a chart of all of the different financial aids throughout the state of Kansas. And there is another one that I put together that looks like this towards the back. It's kind of pink, and that has the state and federal aid on both sides of it. So it's federal aid and state of Kansas. And there is also this right one that says number 22, this one right here. This is important too because this has scholarship and planning resources. So you can have, there are tons of different scholarship search engines and financial aid resources that you can look at and go from there. So that is also from Kansas Board of Regents, and those are the options. So you should have 3 pages towards the back of your yellow folder that provide additional resources for you. All right, so back to slide 24 real quick. Make sure that you ask questions and make sure that you meet all deadlines. All of these are hard deadlines. These are not a suggestion of, oh, you probably should have it in on this date. No, it's a hard deadline. I have seen kids devastated over losing thousands of dollars because they did not submit, hundreds or thousands of dollars because they did not submit by the deadline. All right, so first things first. How do I apply for financial aid? Okay, so there are steps, and there are important steps, and there are some things that you have to do. I have tried to make it as easy as possible. It's kind of like filing your taxes. Everyone kind of cringes, but once you get into it, oh, it's not too bad. You plug this number in this hole, this box. So everything will be okay. So first thing that you'll have to do is you have to get an FSA ID, Federal Student Aid Identification. And both the student and the parent must have this, okay? So your parent must have one, student must have one. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to apply for the FSA ID, and then you get your PIN. And those 2 websites are right there for you. What you can also do in this, I stole this from the state of Kentucky. They have excellent resources that I just steal. So they have a FAFSA completion date guide that is the front and back, and it walks you through the steps. It has this little flow chart of what you need to do, what you need to have, when to start, and then those bullet points right down here of what you need are really key too, because those are all really, really important. You need to have your an email address. Both the student and the parent need to have their own email address, and it's recommended not to use your school email because if you ever get locked out or you can't utilize it anymore, you need to make sure that you have your own school email or not school email. Cell phones work best because then you can text and receive text to get back. Social security number, and then you'll also need your 2019 financial information. And one of the important components is that you will need your 2019 financial information regardless if that accurately reflects your current financial position and current financial situation. So you still need those 2019 taxes. So your first step is going to apply for that FSA ID. Now, it is not hard, but it is a process. So when you go to FSA ID and you apply for this, again, I recommend doing everything online. You will start here, and the first thing you have to do is apply for your FSA ID. In your yellow folder, we have, in your yellow folder, I've helped organize this as best as I can. So you would go here, you would apply, I am the student. If you don't already have an FSA ID, you would create one. So I clicked the wrong link. Okay, so you will walk through this and answer each component to get started on your FSA ID. And there are 7 different steps that you have to go through. I cannot complete this without submitting things. I can't continue without everything. So what I need you to do is look in your yellow folder right now. You should have two sections. One that is purple, and I am right after the stuff from Kentucky. I'm right after the yellow portion from Kentucky. The first one over here on the bottom says parent, and it is 2 pages. And then the next one, exactly the same information on here, and it says student over on the right side. So what I have done is I've went through this process right here, and I've printed those off. One is parent, purple is parent, blue is student. And whenever you go through, and I did those purposefully because whenever you go through your student aid, there will be a small tab over on the side that is color coordinated, and it's really, really close. In the purple and blue, I think it's too close of colors. So that's why I chose to do purple and blue here for the parent. What I recommend is keeping this safe. But I recommend going through and putting every single thing, literally writing whatever you write down on your screen, write it down in here. So you're going to probably use it one time a year, and unless you're really, really good about it, you are going to have a difficult time remembering everything. So follow along with this purple page and go through exactly every step of the way. So once you get your personal information created, the next step is personal identification, which is where you enter your first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, social security number, then continue. The next section is your contact information, which is your email address, and you must remember, you must have access to this email account because they will send you authentication links that you must be able, if you're locked out of your email, or if it's an old email, you can't get it, it's something on an old phone, you need to have a current email that you can get to. I would highly recommend using your mobile number, so that way they can text you verification as well as phone and all of those sort of things, and then continue. The last portion is a challenge question. So step 3 is challenge question. And what I have done is it's really hard to see on the pink. I'll go to the blue for the students. What I have done on the last page, the final page, is I have copied all of the challenge question options that they provide for you that you would be able to do. So what I would suggest doing is on that challenge question page. So if your challenge question, let's just say it's number 1 is what was your first car? If that's question number 1, I would literally write in here and put a 1 and write Toyota Tacoma, whatever it would be. Write it on there. You want to make sure that your capitalization and your spacing, however you put it on the computer, is exactly how you would write it on here. Because if you put Toyota Tacoma on here, but then the next time you're asked that question, oh, I had a Tacoma. Okay, so, well, is it really? You have to be exact or it will kick you out. So then second, what is your father's middle name? So I'd put a 2 there. And again, this is for the parent, whoever is filling this out. So parent, what is your father's middle name? And you would put that on there. And then what is the name of your first teacher? Mrs. Niederklein. So make sure that you put, however you're going to put it in the computer, you write it on here so you know. Are you capitalizing? Are you putting a period? Are you putting spaces? However you spell it, make sure that you're consistent. So I would have all of these things written on here. So parent, you will have an FSA ID. Only one parent needs the FSA ID. Student, also, you have to have your own FSA ID. So student has the blue pages and you have to go through the exact same steps. So here's the tricky part. Sometimes I have well-intending parents that want to do this for them, which is wonderful. I don't think there's any malice at all in that. However, what happens is the parent will be using their own, they'll be on the student and they'll put in their date of birth or social security number or answer something wrong. And if you have a wrong social security number, there are some fields that if it's wrong, you have to restart. You cannot get it changed. So I highly recommend that the parent do this and the student do their own individual, because you will be utilizing this for the next several years. Students, if you go off to college somewhere, you go off to do something, a lot of this you are going to have to do on your own. Okay, so I should click that one. I'm going to skip skip that for just a second. Slide 26. Slide 27, common issues. Social security number, date of birth, legal name, gender, all of those things sound really, really easy, but you would be really, really surprised. Those are the most common things that are reported year after year, that things don't get situated correctly when they first get inputted. If you have to do any errors that need to be corrected, it could extend the process. Who is my parent? Am I dependent or independent? The next slide will kind of help answer that. My household size. Oh, well, my older brother lives with us, but he's never really here that much. Does he or does he not? Do I count him? Do I not count him? So those issues are pretty common. Undocumented students or parents. If you are a DACA student, we have our own information that we need to go over. Reporting untaxed income and assets, and then special circumstances. There are always special circumstances that need to be addressed on an individual basis. So let's go back and look at slide 28. Am I dependent or independent? Most of you are going to be a dependent student, okay? Or I'm sorry, I think I have that wrong. If any one of those, then you're an independent student. Hold on, I'm back. Yes, I had a typo there. So if you have any of those things on there, any one of those, then you are considered an independent student. So you would not have to report parents' income. So any of those that are on the list are considered a independent student, so you would do your own. I believe that is, I think it's field 53 whenever you're doing it. Don't quote me on that. Okay, so the next question is, who is my parent? So if mom and dad have been married to each other throughout, and they file their taxes married, filing jointly, and then you kind of go through right in here, yes and yes. So are your parents married to each other? You kind of follow this because it may be a little tricky in some situations. Typically what financial aid offices indicate is the best rule of thumb is who provides 51% of the care and support of the student. So whatever parent provides 51% of that care and financial support for the student is whose tax information that you would record. So this is kind of a quick flow chart regarding who is my parent. And I know that sounds like a really weird question, but that comes up quite a bit, especially when we have step parents involved and that sort of thing. One of the easiest components that they have put in is the utilization of the IRS data retrieval tool. And once you have your FSA ID, you have put in your social security number, everything that you have matches exactly what you have on your taxes. So name, address, everything matches. Then most of the time you'll be prompted to a portion to where you can do an IRS data retrieval tool. And what that does is that automatically links in with the IRS website, and pre-fills out a lot of the documents, a lot of the boxes and the bubbles. So it takes your dependents, the number of dependents, it takes the earned income and the tax credits and all of those sort of things, and it puts it directly into it puts it directly into your financial aid application, so it will transfer. That information is populated, and it may not show up as numbers or amounts, but it will say transferred. So this uses your accurate taxes rather than estimates. This also reduces the likelihood of needing further paperwork for verification or income verification or anything like that. So it is a great tool, and they have really done a good job about getting that set up a lot better. Okay, so another portion of financial aid were scholarships, and we do have, should have this video for career cruising shortly. Also, there's information on the Frontenac Education Foundation. That is at the very back of your yellow folder on a green sheet right here, talking about the financial contribution that the Education Foundation makes. And every graduate is eligible for a $150 scholarship every semester. Again, you must apply by the deadline. If you don't apply by the deadline, then you do not receive that scholarship. Also, I will have a scholarship board starting in November, December, January. This is what it looks like. And it has the pockets, and you are able to go and actually get the paper applications. I do two different things in order to share scholarship information with you. Not only do I print out and put physical copies there for you to pick up, but I also email it to you. So that's why it's very important to be checking your emails, because all the scholarship opportunities will be in various places. This scholarship board, most of you have seen it. It is outside my south door, so kind of on the way on the back side of the middle gym. So you can get those there. Okay, so a little bit more on how much money can I get. It depends on the program. You have to do your research. Everyone is just a little bit different. In the back, we kind of already talked about those three sheets, those three charts that have the Planning Resource Guide from KBOR, the Kansas State Financial Aid Association, and then the one that I made up, just the chart that has the federal and the state programs that goes through everything. Also, ask your financial aid office at your colleges about opportunities that may be specific to their school. Every school kind of has their own little, refer to it as a little pot of gold. They have their own account and own scholarships that they are able to give out however they deem necessary. So there might be something unique and specific for you for each of those colleges. And then also, any clubs, organizations, employers, churches, anything like that that you're a part of may be offering scholarships as well. For last year, there was an opportunity for Children of Fallen Heroes. So this is the second year for this. And this is continuing as far as I know. So if you meet any of those requirements or eligibility, there will be extra opportunities for you. On slide 34, just a reminder, the earlier the better. It is open October 1st. And it goes from October 1st to June 30th of 2021. And once the deadline is gone, once the money is gone, it is gone. So it is definitely time sensitive. The sooner you get it, the better off you'll be. Stop wasting time. one last thing for financial aid. So I know here we are sitting at the end of September. I will go through this several times. So local scholarships, that does not mean that they are offered from the college. They are a local scholarship. We have an amazing community that supports our graduates and donate money for their scholarship and post-secondary endeavors. So most of those are selected and sent directly. The student picks them up and then they have to take them directly to the college. Any scholarship that a student is awarded may be picked up in early August of next year. They then take those checks. I verify that they are enrolled as a student. The check is made out to the student as well as the college. They pick those up and then they take them to the cashier's office. The college then will apply that to their funds and to their account and then offer any refunds, typically in October, but it depends on the school policy. Okay, so most of the scholarships are not just, here's a $500 check for you, go do whatever you want to for it. It is made out to you and the school both. Most of them, almost all of them, are non-renewable, which means you may get a whole bunch of scholarships for the first semester and then not for the second semester. So you have to really, really plan that out. And then I give you a list of contact information and who to send thank yous to, and we do that in May as well. So this concludes section 3, no, section, I don't know, of financial aid.